So, what are the best digital marketing jobs, Daniel?
There's a really broad range of job roles which we'll talk about, but they kind of fall into two categories, really, or two main areas.
Right, so what are the two categories?
You've got generalist. I'm a problem solver. I'm going to work out what we should be doing, and I'm going to apply that. And then specialist. I will be absolutely brilliant at this very particular type of thing. There are some people that manage to balance the two, which are the T-shaped people. They've got this broad range set of kind of problem solving skills, and they've got really deep knowledge in one particular area. I like the whole T-shaped thing. But I think people will argue one way over the other. In my career, I think I've been a generalist, really, because I've kind of tried to learn a bit about everything, and therefore, what's the solution to this? And that kind of takes you down the kind of strategy role eventually, because you can shape up which direction to take things in. But that's kind of where it is at the moment.
So any idea on which is better?
Yes and no. I'm going to argue that a generalist is a good thing because you get to problem solve. Other people will argue you will never know enough about everything in order to do that, so you need to be a specialist. I think organisations need both. You've specialised in a few areas like paid search and those kind of things, and e-commerce and things like that as well. Would you consider yourself a generalist or a specialist?
I am T-shaped, but it's more to do with the amount of cheese that I consume and how my shape is changing. It's not quite what you were describing, but I suppose it is really fun being an expert in a particular area. And naturally, as you get more senior, you work on more and more projects. I suppose I never had a plan to be a digital marketer. I was sort of thrust into it, and I turned out I was quite good at it, and I enjoyed the attention, if I'm honest. So that sort of drove me forward, and I haven't stopped. So what I love about it is every day is a school day. There's always new things, and actually, when you think you've learned everything, everything changes, and you've got to learn a whole bunch more. What I find endlessly fascinating about it is it's all about people. And this is really exciting. When you go on the journey, you start looking at data and you become obsessed with numbers. And then suddenly the penny drops and you realise, oh my goodness, there's actual real people behind all of these numbers and figures. And actually there are stories to tell within that data. And we can actually, it's one of the amazing things about the human brain. We can foretell what we want the future to be. Yeah. So as a marketer, you've got the ability to change the end of the story. That's fun. That's endlessly fun. And you learning how to do that and learning what levers you can pull and how you can bring in different notes and different campaign elements. And so, I don't think I've ever necessarily followed particular things. There's things that I've had to, because of the nature of my work, learn more about. I've definitely specialised a lot in SEO. There have been times in my career when I've had to specialise a lot in pay-per-click. They're just things that you sort of pick up. But actually, when you begin to realise that actually it all comes full circle, actually, really, it's not about any of that stuff. It's about the people behind it. And that's when you really start to find some big wins. I say this in a lot of my training courses, but try and hack the human algorithm. And that's true of SEO, it's true of pay-per-click, it's true of affiliate marketing, it's true of all of these things. And actually then it becomes a study of your fellow man, and how to bring the best out for them and solve their problems. And when you get to that level, anything's possible. So there's an element of both. It's like generalist and specialist. But I think the thing that all marketers need to be real specialists in is people.
Yeah. And there's also agency side and client side. Yeah,
so I think for me, the agency side of things is brilliant for learning.
Yes.
I went into an agency very, very early in my career, and that was a really steep but really great learning curve. On the client side of things, clients can be quite frustrated by agencies, and there's the tension between the two sometimes as well. Agencies will definitely get frustrated with their clients as well.
Why have one difficult and demanding boss when you can have 20?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right? So that's that kind of challenge. They're both kind of different. And what you'll see is in an agency environment, there's kind of natural, you go in at a junior exec level, you might go into some sort of specialist area, you might then go to an account manager, then account director, and there's kind of a clear path as you go through. Within the client side of things, there will be, depending on the size of the client, different roles. Some will just have, a marketer, a digital marketer. Some might have 50 pay-per-click specialists. It depends. So there is the balance between the two. There's pros and cons to each thing. You might like to work on one thing, great for the client side of things. Agency, I want to work on loads of things and learn. I can do a bit of both. So I think that's it. I would say early in your career, if you can get into an agency, it's a great opportunity because you'll learn a lot. And that was a good thing for me. Similar experience if I get both of you as well.
So what was your career path then?
So I was a techie. So I studied computer engineering, and I came out of university and I applied for, I think, 15 graduate programs, and I got exactly 0 offers. I didn't get to any of them. We got completely rejected. So I was like, oh, okay. I'll start my own business because I have no idea what I'm doing. So I went off and started my own business, and we were basically doing online marketing, building websites really back the brochure websites back in the day. That built up, .com boom, going brilliantly. All of our clients went bankrupt literally in the same week. I was like, I better get a job then. So I went in as the online marketing manager in a technology company. Did that for a while. Then got offered a role in an agency. So this was the early agency role. I was the third person into the agency, and it was 2 brothers that owned it. And then within 3 years, I was managing director, and we'd had like dozens of staff, and it was all kind of huge and growing. And then it kind of stepstoned from there. And then 11 years ago, I started my own business up. So none of it was planned. It's one of the key things to say. And the reason I say that is that the world is changing so quickly that digital marketing wasn't even a career really back then. It was kind of a word, but it wasn't really a thing yet. And just knowing a bit about tech and a bit about marketing at the same time was a sweet spot. So I think if you can arm yourself with the knowledge to solve problems, to understand the technology a bit, to understand marketing theory, combine those things, and you'll be in really good stead for those kind of things as well. So I would just reassure people that if you haven't got an absolute plan, don't worry. And I will guarantee if you have got a plan, it will not go to plan. So it's about work out what you're passionate about, work about what you're interested in, focus on that, become good at it. I just think becoming good at something is really key. And then once you get there, you can shape your career. You've got a bit more control over it. And then there's never-ending route of things that will become interesting. And I think that's it. It is an interesting career path. And it doesn't have to be set in stone. It can change it. You can be a generalist, then a specialist, then back to being a generalist. It's okay. And if you feel like you're being pigeonholed, change. You can go in another direction. And that's the key thing.